Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This podcast I started 3 years ago to chronicle me starting stand up. This podcast is a weekly podcast. It comes out once a week, and this is just a small little introduction video into the podcast. So, down below in the description of each episode, you can go to my Linktree and find links to everything connected to me. This podcast is available on YouTube, which you're watching it on right now, and also on Spotify. But yeah, that is just a small introduction into this podcast and everything that goes along with it. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Look at my messy hair. Anyway, so if you had seen the title of this, you're probably wondering, what the hell is he on about? Because the title of this episode is What's Going On with Stand-Up Comedy. And it's... I don't really know where it's... This is all, by the way, also my just personal opinion and seeing it how, or from where I'm standing, or kind of seeing and hearing it. And also kind of it's personal opinion and just kind of, I suppose, a general again, my personal view on just how a general view of how comedy is at the moment, especially stand-up. It's, if you have been listening, especially earlier in the year when I was doing a lot of shows, still fiddling with this headphone situation. But yeah, earlier in the year when I was doing a lot of shows, there was like a lot of heckling and stuff. It was just audience members. A lot of them were not being respectful and quiet during the shows and stuff like that. It's not a new thing. It happens all the time, but it's something that I've personally noticed happen an awful lot more. And I was kind of trying to narrow it down to what it was. And one of, like I said, personal opinion, one of the things I think it is that audience members, when they see comedy clips of crowd work and stuff, get it in their head that this is how shows go. Now, obviously, that's not the case, because if they've been, if you ever been to a comedy show, obviously, there is, if a comic is doing crowd work, general consensus is you don't talk unless a comedian talks to you. And a good host or MC will tell that to the audience at the start of the show, if they're doing the job properly. They'll also tell people not to film the fucking performance, as I had to tell an audience member before, which I don't know. But anyway, so I think that's kind of one of the problems. The other thing is just I don't know how to phrase it, but it kind of stems from okay, comedy, like stand up. You're in the world of entertainment, so you're an entertainer. Okay, if you want to kind of, we'll put it in that little bracket. So you're an entertainer. I'm gonna hold the mic like it's a video. Like it's a video, it is a video. I'm gonna hold the mic like I'm at a show. This bass is not very long. I could actually raise this, but anyway. So because I see an awful lot of like politics, people's personal opinions. Like, I don't think comedians should be too invested in not politics, but you make a social commentary. I don't think you should be kind of. This is, at the end of the day, this is all jokes. Okay, you can have serious topics and stuff, but it's like comedians as a society. I think we have to live outside the fringes of, I suppose, not. I wouldn't really say they're constraints, but it's like when I see somebody, especially in their like social media account, like if I look at a comedian's social media account, I shouldn't see like I don't know. I see a lot of the stuff that's not relevant to comedy. It's not why I follow them. I don't really want to know if he's Republican or Democratic. To be honest, I don't give a shit. Tell me funny jokes, and I often find that a lot, especially when they go on like a podcast. So if a comedian goes on Rogan, they start discussing all these political things. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's strange to me. It's just I don't. Like I said, this is just a personal opinion, but I feel like it's getting in the way of art, and also there's always this always debate of male comedian, female comedian. Just say comedian. Why are you putting a gender on it? Just the currency in comedy is be funny. That's it. End of. I don't know where all this other stuff came from. It's the audience respects you being funny. Like the comedians, people you perform with, your fellow comedians. We respect our currency that we deal with deal in is being funny. Hee hee ha ha. So it's I don't know, because I'm seeing all this stuff online, and I know it's the internet. People talk a lot of shit on the internet, but it's in a way it's kind of disheartening because, especially of late, like I'm not performing as much nowadays because I'm working on a personal project, but it's I'm watching a lot of stand-up specials, but the minute I go online I see all these things, and you're like, what's going on? Like the Riyadh Comedy Festival is a perfect example of this. People are like, oh, the Saudi Arabia, whatever, the human rights abuse and all this stuff, all these comedians, the sellouts or whatever. And you also have to remember, a lot of comedians for years and years never make any money. Myself included. Like I work a full time job. I do comedy, once a week usually, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. But it's all coming out of my pocket from my other job. Like I'm not getting paid for most of these gigs. I don't get paid for, so it's just, I don't know. It's like, if there's it's, yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm trying to pinpoint where it's coming from, and it's, but even the other thing as well, like other comedians turn on comedians, for whatever views. Is like, yeah, I think one of the most, like, I suppose a positive thing from this is like when I went to Vienna. Other than knowing Malinda, who lived there for 8 years before I moved to Ireland, I knew no other comedians, nobody. And I went there, and I was there for nearly a week. And after that week, I had met so many comedians throughout the week, and made a great personal connection with a lot of them. And it's just felt like, oh, this one thing that we all had in common was just such a great uniting factor. I don't know these people, like throughout the course of the week I met them. It was just like, that was so good, and so it was just incredible to see what comedy can do. But I don't see why it's creating this friction and hatred and all this being spread around. And like I was saying earlier, I understand the internet is not a nice place. Sometimes it's full of just assholes or whatever, and it's, yeah, I don't know. It just, I think it's like I said, there is an awful lot of positives from it, but also I think it's heading into kind of a dark direction to a point where it's nearly going to be like this taboo thing that maybe I don't know, like it's because you especially like the US, you have the First Amendment, which is the right, I think it is the right freedom of speech, I think it is, and it's it's people definitely use it to go way too far, you know and then I don't know. In other countries, you can't really say certain things. Well, a lot of people that do say the things, a lot of it, 99% of it is all very, very hateful things, and they shouldn't be saying that. but a lot of stuff isn't, and then it's been what's that word? Being construed as hateful stuff when it really isn't either. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's strange to me, really, to be honest. Um, I don't like, like I said, I'm not geeking for a while. When I go back, we shall see how things are. In the Irish comedy scene so far, it looks to be okay. It's mainly comes from, I think, kind of online, and certainly very bad over in the United States. But I think that's got a lot to do with just how the US is at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of instability because Mr. President Donald, no more funny. That's it. Do you think Donald will get upset if he probably knows people do his accents? But anyway, um, it's, yeah. I don't know. I also don't know why I think about this all the time when I hear like people complain about freedom of speech or things and like wrong things in comedy or whatever. I always think about Hicks. Hicks just, especially like Hicks started comedy when he was very young and he continued towards the very end. And it was just, yeah, I don't know. I always think, what would he think about all this? He certainly wouldn't back down. No, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Bill Hicks, but I don't know. It's always in the back of my mind. What would Hicks think? It's actually really cool. I might have mentioned before. There is what's it called? Try by Laughter, which is run by two good friends of mine, Coleman Haynes and John O'Keefe. A room that Malinda used to run before he moved over to Vienna. But yeah, in that room upstairs in, I forget, the Bar Rua it's called. Bar Rua in Irish means red, so it means red bar. The bar itself is red, completely red. But yeah, upstairs in one of the pillars, I think on Instagram, one of my clips that I have, I only have a couple of clips on my Instagram page, Alex George Comedy. But one of them is in that room, but the pillar is not shown. But on that pillar at the back, there's two photos, and one of them is an old photo. It's like Bill Hicks, I think he's standing on a beach somewhere with a microphone and a stand and a cigarette in his hand. And I remember performing there for the first time, and I was always thinking like, um, the whatchamacallit. Yeah, and it's just like like I always say, I always just think about Bill, but since I know us, I always try and do my best in every comedy show I do, but especially in that room, it's like, don't let Bill down. I don't know. It's just it's a funny thing. I mentioned to the other comedians as well, but I like to think he's watching. Maybe he's not. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so that's my little synopsis of how I'm viewing stand up right now. And this has been filmed on the 11th of October 2025, heading towards the end of the year. Shall see what 2026 will bring. 2025 has certainly been alright. This is not an end of year review yet, but it's kind of maybe a mini one. It's this year for me personally in comedy has been very interesting, especially going over to Vienna. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. It made me change how I approach stand up. A lot of it has been useful, some of it not. But yeah, uh, that's just, I suppose, my little take from it. But yeah, if you like comedy, go watch it, buy tickets, support it live because it's currently in Ireland, it's not being funded. There is the budget that came out actually this week as well. I think I don't know if I think comedians can apply for basic artist income or be included in that bracket now. It'd be great, to be honest, to get a financial support if you know, if it was possible. But I don't know. Guess we'll see. But yeah, that's the episode. As per usual, all the links down below to everything, and I should see you in next week's episode. And like I also said, this is just what I see and hear, and my opinion on what I think is going on in the comedy world, not just here in Ireland, but worldwide and in Europe. And you know, I have travelled through Europe this year, so I have seen it personally. So it's not just talking out my ass. But anyway, bye bye. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.